All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's start the session. First of all, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Baha Abu Salim, a program director from Tatmeen, Evotech, the company which is implementing the system. I also have my colleagues here from the company, Mr. Khosro, Mr. Nibal, and Mr. Mustafa. Nibal, if you can help me with the logistics while I'm presenting, I'm not going to be able to see who's asking questions, so if you can help me with that. Before we start, let's agree on some logistics so that we can optimize the benefit for everyone. Let's try and mute ourselves while I'm presenting, or my colleagues are answering your questions. If you have any questions, raise your hand, and my colleague Nibal will facilitate giving you the opportunity to ask your question. So we'll start with the presentation, inshallah. Let me present first what we have to present to you, and then we can have a questions and answers session afterwards. We will be sharing the slides with you so that you can have access to it. We're also recording this session, and we're going to figure out how we can share the recording with you, either upload it on the website or on YouTube. So bring your coffee, relax, and ask any questions you might have. All right, let's start. All right, very quickly, before I start, are there any pharmacies here on the call with us today? No? Okay, because we have a similar session tomorrow for pharmacies as well, so just wanted to double check. Okay, in today's session, I'm going to give you a quick introduction. We'll talk very briefly about master data. Then we will take a deep dive into the onboarding process of Tatmeen, onto Tatmeen. Today, we're going to focus on the B2B option, which we call business to business. This is where your system is talking to the Tatmeen platform using APIs. I have here my colleague Khosro Habib, our lead architect. He will be answering any questions you might have or you want to raise with us. And of course, if you have any further questions, you can reach out to us on contact@tatmeen.ae, and you can raise any questions you might have. Then after we finish the deep dive, we're going to go through the business processes that you have to cover as a medical store. And then we conclude with a questions and answers session. Now, I'm going to pause here for a bit. These are important documentations that you should look at, the technical guides that are available on the website, on the Tatmeen website. We also have a training material which describes how the mobile and portal works. This is also a very good source of information. There is also a link to test material, which we will be describing in the session today. There is a feedback form and also an attendance form if you would like to record your attendance or send any feedback points to us. If you'd like to take a screenshot for this, we will show it again while we progress on the slides. Now, Tatmeen, as you know, is a comprehensive participation. Everyone is participating: manufacturers, distributors, wholesalers, pharmacies and hospitals, and also the patient. They can check if the pharmaceutical products are counterfeit or not. At the bottom, you find the government entities who are also connecting to Tatmeen to retrieve information and to get insight into how the pharmaceutical drugs are moving. The core concept of Tatmeen is track and trace, which relies on serialization, where 2D barcodes or 2D data matrices are printed.
Baha, you were muted for some reason.
Yeah, I think someone was trying to take access. I think he muted me. But where did you lose me? Where did you lose me?
Just the last sentence.
Okay. Now, as I was explaining, serialization is very important because this is how Tatmeen sees the pharmaceutical product. If it's not serialized, Tatmeen will not be able to see it. So we scan the barcode and we retrieve the information from it and save it in the database. Now, what is master data? Why is it so important? For Tatmeen to be able to operate, it needs information about the products, the pharmaceutical products, and the partners. You guys are the partners, distributors. We also have pharmacies, hospitals, and what have you. These two should be defined in Tatmeen. How do we achieve this? We take information from Mohab systems, we feed it into BrandSync, and then
Baha, we lost you again.
Again, Baha.
We lost your voice, Baha.
We take.
just
Again, just the sentence. Excuse me, everyone. Can you please try to avoid mute all? Please do not click on that. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. But anyways, don't worry. I'm good. Type. So again, the product data and the partner data is in the Mohab systems. They push it to BrandSync. BrandSync asks you to update either your partner information or your products in case you're a manufacturer. And then this data is pushed to Tatmeen. Acquisition of GLN happens here. Oops. I think someone is controlling my screen as well. Acquisition of, sorry guys. The acquisition of GLNs happens here. When you go and talk to BrandSync, they will send you an Excel sheet, ask for information, and they will give you the GLNs. These GLNs are forwarded to Tatmeen. Tatmeen identifies you using the GLN, and of course, your partner information and whatever. Right. How do you onboard to Tatmeen? This is what we described in the sessions before. I'm going to go through it very quickly. You register on BrandSync. This is the first thing you need to do. There is an email here where you can reach out to them. And if you have any issues, and you can reach out to us and we can redirect to them, but it's better to talk to them directly. You update your information and you acquire the GLNs. Now, after that, this information is pushed to the staging environment. Now, it's very important. You're going to work on a staging environment first, then you're going to move to a production environment. They're very identical. However, the staging is for testing, the production is for the real deal. What do you need to do on the Tatmeen staging environment? You have to identify a SPOC, a single point of contact, when you register your information on BrandSync. This SPOC is pushed to Tatmeen, and we can see it on our database. We send an email to this SPOC. This SPOC will have to log into Tatmeen. We will explain this in details. They have to view their data and make sure it's correct. And they will create two things. The first thing is the mobile and portal user. In case you want to use the mobile and portal of Tatmeen, they will also create what we call a service user. This is the user that you can use to consume the APIs, the application programming interfaces of Tatmeen. This is the username that you have to give to your systems integrator, the technology company, or to your IT staff who are implementing the integration for you. You connect your system, your stock management system or any system that you have to Tatmeen APIs, and you perform the test cases, which we will explain in details. Now, as I said, the focus of this session is this portion, B2B. This portion, the mobile and portal, we're going to be releasing manuals, very detailed manuals. You can go through these manuals and understand how we can use Tatmeen. Now, as we said before, whatever you perform on Tatmeen on the mobile and portal, you can also perform it on the B2B APIs. Okay? After you've done your test, you move to the production environment and you're ready to transact with the production environment of Tatmeen. Now, one important thing to note here, again, on the production environment, the single point of contact will have to create mobile users and service users. Why? Because we segregated the two environments from each other to avoid any confusion. So when you get the information of the production environment, when the SPOC receives an email to register, they will log in, create users, and you also need to change the URLs, which we will provide you with. These URLs, or the URL that you see in the browser, connects you to the production environment, which is different than the one that you use to connect to the staging environment. Okay, right. Now, very quickly, how do you onboard to the mobile and portal? Because we're going to focus on the B2B, so we're going to go through this very quickly. You acquire a GLN, as I said, from GS1. You update your master data in collaboration with BrandSync team. Then you download the training guides, which are on the barcodes that I've showed at the beginning. And we will also be publishing more detailed manuals during this month, inshallah. The SPOC, the single point of contact, will create dialogue users. These are the mobile and portal users. We call them dialogue users. These are basically your colleagues, your operational colleagues. Then you submit a checklist, which we are preparing at the moment, to make sure that you have done everything you need to use the mobile and portal. Now,
Sorry, 1 second. You seem to be muted.
okay, I'm going to charge you $10 each time I'm muted. But so again, as I said, this is the interesting part, the B2B connectivity. I'm going to give you a quick introduction, and then my colleague Khosrow is going to take you through a deep dive to explain exactly what you need to do to connect to the B2B application programming interfaces. Of course, you need, sorry, just a second. You need to get a GLN, which I think you will do it regardless whether you're using mobile and portal or B2B. You need to update your master data. This, you have to do it on the portal. Before you move to the B2B integration, you have to log into the portal. The single point of contact will have to log into the portal and make sure the master data is correct. Your email is correct, your details are correct, your products are correct, and what have you. Then,
Can you reshare your screen?
Post it again? Okay, just a second. Share. Can you see the slide?
Yes, yes.
All right. So we're at step number 3, all right?
Yes.
GLN registration. This is where the single point of contact receives the registration email, logs in the Tatmeen portal, creates. Just a second. Nibal, can you check you have control? I think someone requested the control early in the call.
No, I stopped control from everyone and muted everyone.
Okay. Right. So the single point of contact will have to log into the Tatmeen portal, create a service/technical user. It's the same name, service user or technical user. It's the same user. These will be used to integrate through the application programming interface. And they need to create dialogue users as per their requirements, if they have any colleagues working on the platform as well. For more information, refer to this URL. This is the URL that is on one of the QR codes. This is where you will find training material about how to use the mobile and portal. Okay. In addition to the manuals here, you will find a bunch of manuals on the website. We call them the technical manuals. There is the technical onboarding guide. Okay. Sorry, there is the Tatmeen technical guide for manufacturers. If you are commissioning or aggregating, if you are doing commissioning on behalf of your principal, you need to look at this manual. We have encountered some cases where the manufacturers are asking their distributors or local agents to do the commissioning on their behalf. If this is the case, you need to look at this manual. Now, for licensed agents, medical stores, there is another guide which is called Technical Guides for MAH and Logistics. This talks about how you as a medical store need to report to Tatmeen. And we will explain to you in detail what you need to report to Tatmeen. There's another manual for dispensation. This does not consist, for dispensation, this is for pharmacies and hospitals. So if you are a medical store and you also have pharmacies under your umbrella, you need to look at this manual. Okay. In addition, there is a technical onboarding guide, which talks about what we are describing to you today. It's a very good document. Look at it. It has a lot of details. And if you have any questions, you can refer back to us. Okay, what next? Then the next thing is, after you created the technical user and downloaded the technical guides, you hand them over to the IT experts to establish the B2B integration with Tatmeen. Now, to help you understand what needs to be done, we have created some test cases, and we will explain these in details during the session. So in these test cases, we told you exactly what you need to do. If you need to pack some products into a carton, this is the test case that you need to do. If you need to transfer from one location to another, just a minute. Okay. If you need to go from one location to another, there is also a test case for that. And we will explain this to you in detail. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Baha.
Okay. Right. Then you run the test cases. These are the test cases that I was explaining. Commissioning. This is where you upload the serial numbers to Tatmeen. Aggregation, shipping, pack, unpack. This is what we call change of hierarchy. Transferring products, you can ship it from a location to another. You can receive it, you can return it, and you can receive the return that is sent by someone else. And you can also do status updates. You can do sampling. You can indicate some are lost, stolen, damaged, dispensed. This for pharmacies and hospitals, or you can say it was exported again. Sorry. Now, once you finish the test cases, you have to submit them to this email address. We will confirm everything is fine, and we can move you to the production environment. Moving to the production environment, it's the same. The SPOC will have to complete the Tatmeen registration. They will create, Tatmeen registration on the production environment, not the staging environment. They will have to create technical users and dialogue users as they see, switch over the URLs from pre-production to production, and then submit a checklist which we will provide. Now, this is in a nutshell how the process should work. Now, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Khosrow to take you through the intricate details of the integration. Are there any questions before we continue? I think we have questions.
Baha, most of the hands were raised before you started your slides, so I'm not sure whether you answered their question or not. So I would lower all their hands for now, and probably leave the last part for questions. Once we continue the whole slides, then if our question was not answered, then they can answer their question. What do you think?
Okay, it's up to you guys. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Over to you, Khosrow. Good morning.
Okay. Good morning. Thank you, Baha. Good morning, everybody. Okay, so in the next few slides, what we'll do is we'll go through the details of what Baha was covering in the earlier slides in terms of the B2B user, and then specifically what steps are involved in setting up your user, and then setting up the APIs, and then executing a particular API. So the slides which you see right now gives you an overview of all the steps involved in from starting to setting up your B2B user to executing and fetching a message status from Tatmeen. So I've divided into two different sections. One is setup. So in setup, in step S1, that's where you create your B2B user. So if you recall, Baha was giving you a heads up on how do you set up a SPOC. So a SPOC gets created through branding in Tatmeen. So that's a prerequisite. So your SPOC should already be onboarded on Tatmeen, already should be able to log in. And the SPOC of your organization will be creating a B2B user for your organization or your integration partner, whoever is going to integrate for you. So this means we don't register any users for you. There is no, it's all self-service. So your SPOC is your single point of contact who should do everything for you. Now, and this is the slide. So what happens is that there are a few things. There's business partner, there's GS1, and there is Tatmeen. So first of all data from us for us is coming through Mohab licensing system. Whenever you have, you should, if you are registered in Mohab licensing system, or it's coming from branding for entities which are not registered in a licensing system. For example, 3PLs. So all the entities who are operating in UAE will have to go to, or even just to add on that, DHA licensing system, DOH licensing system. So whoever is licensed to operate in UAE will have to go to branding and first register their GLN. This is what you see as GS1 UAE Salesforce. So your the organization person who is responsible to deal with GS1 will have to go to GS1, go and register your GLN. Once you register your GLN, there is a parameter there. There's a field there where you have to plug in your SPOC. A SPOC for us is a person. Is a person in your organization which you trust to be the admin for your organization. So if you plug in that email for, let's say for yourself, then you will receive, as soon as that data is pushed back into Tatmeen, you will receive a link saying, go and complete your registration in Tatmeen. And this is very important because Tatmeen, you cannot go to Tatmeen portal and do a registration. It has to come via branding. So once your data is complete in branding is going to push that data, GS1 branding, I'm using them interchangeably, will push that data to Tatmeen. You get a link, you follow that link, it will come to the email which you have provided in the as the SPOC. You complete that registration, and now you're onboarded on Tatmeen. So once you log into Tatmeen, now you are the SPOC of your organization, which is like you are the admin for your organization. Now, an important thing to note here is that, let's say, for example, you have 5 GLNs or 5 locations you are operating in. Then you have to get 5 GLNs from, you have to register 5 GLNs in GS1. If you register those 5 GLNs, you can put the same SPOC in that GLN. This means when then data is sent to Tatmeen, it will group all those GLNs under that SPOC. So whenever that SPOC creates more users for your organization, be it a service user, be it a portal mobile user, he can authorize them for all 5 GLNs or part of those GLNs. So let's say, for example, you have 5 pharmacies and you have 5 different people operating in that pharmacy, and you have to segregate that authorization. So you can create 5 users for those particular pharmacies and then give them authorization for their specific GLNs. Or if you have one person who is responsible for everything, then you give him all the authorization. So that's the role of SPOC. Now, once that is done, then the next step would be to register your technical user. That is the service user. So you go in the same place. Again, it's all SPOC's responsibility. SPOC goes to the Tatmeen portal. He registers a technical user. So we use these words interchangeably: technical user, service user, B2B user. When you go on portal, the drop down which you will see, the SPOC will see, is the service user. When you create a service user for us is a system. So they cannot log into portal. The only purpose of this user is to do system to system integration. If there's a person in the organization who wants to log in, then you have to select the category portal and mobile, which is referred to here as the dialog user. And again, your SPOC does this activity, and then that creates a corresponding user in Tatmeen. He gets a link in email saying complete your registration, and then he's onboarded on Tatmeen portal. So that's a summary of the steps involved in onboarding. Now, this slide specifically talks about only the B2B user. So SPOC is already created. The SPOC goes on the portal, Tatmeen portal, and creates a B2B user. That's the step one, S1. And I'll go through, I have some screenshots in next coming slides, and you will understand what exactly I'm talking about. Once that B2B user is created, then there's a Tatmeen developer portal, which provides you the API key, API URLs, and what APIs are supported by Tatmeen. You have to go and register on the developer portal using the same B2B user. That's step two, S2. And third is you have to subscribe to APIs. So this APIs you see, whatever is relevant for you, you have to subscribe to those APIs. That completes your setup, the B2B user setup and the developer portal setup. Next is to execute the API, which is E1, E2, E3. So the first step, whenever you're calling any API in Tatmeen, is to use the request token API. This API will provide you the bearer token. And like I said, there are some screenshots and there are steps involved. So I'll go through them in upcoming slides. Then once you have the token, you execute the service, which is, we call it post EPCIS messages. EPCIS messages are SOAP messages. EPCIS is a standard from GS1. So that's why we use this terminology. So you post these EPCIS messages means you make API calls to post data in Tatmeen using the application key and the bearer token, which you got from step one, which is E1. And then finally, when you have posted these events, now Tatmeen has three set of APIs. The manufacturer API is an async API because that's large amount of data and it takes time to process in Tatmeen. Logistics APIs are also, they can be done on a mass level. So they are also, and they take some time to get processed. The dispensation API is synchronous. So first two APIs, which is manufacturing API and logistic API, you will have to call the message status query service to find out the log of your message, if it was successful or failure. For the dispensation API, whenever you post a message in response, synchronously, you'll get confirmation if it was processed or if there was an error processing that message. So that's an overview. In next slides, we will go through each of these steps. So the first step, S1, B2B user creation. And some of the information we have been reiterating. So Baha covered it, I'm reiterating it. So that just clarifies these concepts. And if there are still questions, then please feel free to ask them. So the first step is a SPOC should be onboarded. That's a prerequisite. The second is the SPOC can create two types of users. One is the portal mobile user, which is considered a person accessing the system. Service user, which is a system posting data to Tatmeen and fetching results from Tatmeen. The API user, the service user cannot log into Tatmeen portal. He can only use APIs. The password for the B2B user is set by the SPOC. Now, this is based on what's rolled out right now. In release 2, we are slightly enhancing this process. So the password will, whenever you register a B2B user, the B2B user is going to receive a link in email to complete the registration and set his own password. So that's a slight modification, but it's just like the portal mobile user, so nothing to worry about. But right now, when your SPOC register, he can set the password. And then he can authorize him for specific GLNs. And the same you can see on the right in the screenshot. So SPOC, when you go to settings, go to SPOC admin, you will see a button invite users. You invite a user, fill the type, first name, last name, email address, password, and then drop down to select the GLNs. These GLNs are the ones against which the SPOC of your organization was linked in brand sync. So again, we don't control who gets authorization for which GLN. Your SPOC gets grouped against those GLN when they were assigned in brand sync. That's the first step. So your B2B user is created. Next step would be to set up your developer portal. So the developer portal URL is stgapihub.tatmeen.ae. You go to this URL, use the same B2B user, password, and log in. As soon as you log in, you will see a register button. This is the first screenshot on the top. And this is just a one-time activity. You register, it sends an email to us, to the Tatmeen admin. Tatmeen admin approves it, and then you have access to the portal. Once you log into the portal, you will see the second screenshot, which is a set of products. Products is just like a group of APIs. So we have grouped these APIs into products. So if you are a manufacturer, you will be using MAH reporting API. If you want to host logistic event to Tatmeen, then you will use logistic API. And for dispensing, for pharmacies, they will be using dispensing APIs. But in some cases, this pharmacies will also be using logistic reporting API because if they want to receive something or they want to pack something, unpack something. And same as for a manufacturer. Manufacturer primarily is doing commissioning and aggregation, but if he wants to report damage, stored and lost, he can use logistic reporting API. So all are available based on your usage. You can subscribe. So to subscribe to, that's the next step. I will cover that in the next slide. And the third screenshot mainly shows you when you click a particular product. Just one more slide on the screenshot on the right, on the bottom right, which is if you click a particular product, that gives you the list of APIs which are part of that product. So in this screenshot, I selected the MAH reporting product, and I can see there are three APIs. There's a request token API, there's a message status query API, and the MAH serialization data B2B API. Yeah. So this is what I was talking about. So you have this product. These are the actual APIs. When you click each of these tiles, you will see the URL of that API. But the subscription happens at the product level, which is the group of APIs, which I will talk about in the next slide. Okay, so S3 is when you're subscribing to APIs. So I'm inside a particular product. In this example, I'm inside the supply chain MH reporting product. I will click subscribe and create an application. Now, what am I trying to do here? So whenever you are subscribing to, whenever you are calling an API in Tatmeen, you will have to provide an API key. An API key in Tatmeen is provided on the whenever you subscribe it. So whenever you go to a product and when you subscribe, you will see two options. One is the create new application and add to existing application. Each application will have an API key. So this is nothing to think about too much. It's just how this is structured, the developer portal. If all your APIs, you want one API key, then you just create the application one time. When you click subscribe, it will show a pop-up, enter some basic information, save it, and it will add this product to that application and give you the API key. Now, if I want to use a logistic API, I can go again, subscribe, and next time I can use add to existing. It will add to the existing API. Then what will happen is that for all those APIs, I'm using one API key. If you want to use multiple API keys, then you can create new application every time. But again, that's the only purpose of creating this application is to get your API key. So in the second screenshot on the left, on the right, what you see is if you add an application, add a product, a subscriber product to a particular application, it provides you these details, which is the application key and application secret. Application secret, we are not using that. We are using only the application key. And for credentials, we are using user ID and password, which was the B2B user ID and password. So that's the next step, which is subscribing to an API. You just go to a particular product, press subscribe, create an application or add to an existing application, and then you get your API key. Now, your user is now set up from start to setting up, creating the B2B user to subscribing to an API. Next is to execute a particular service. Now, whenever you are executing or calling any service or posting any message to Tatmeen, the first step will be to request a token because any service requires a bearer token. This bearer token can be provided through the request token API. Now, request token API takes in principle 4 parameters, which are covered on the first two screenshots on the right. The first one is the API key, which we just generated when subscribing to a particular product in Tatmeen developer portal. That goes in the header. Then in the body, you will see a grant type, which is password, which is fixed, username, which is the B2B user, and password, which is the B2B password. The URL for the request token API, you can get it from the Postman collection on our website, tatmeen.ae, or you can also get it from the developer portal. When you click that tile of the API tile, you'll get this URL. And that is what's mentioned here, which is stgapim.tatmeen.ae/v1/auth. Now, when you call this API with these 4 parameters, in return, you will get an access token, which is the screenshot on the bottom right. And this access token will be used for any future calls when you're posting messages or fetching message statuses from Tatmeen. Now, the next step, the next slide, yeah. So Next step is to post the EPCS message. So each EPCS message, there are two things in EPCS message. One is the URL. So the MAI serialization B2B API has a separate URL, logistic has a separate one, and dispensation has a separate one. Again, you can get these from either the Postman collection or the developer portal. So what I've mentioned here is the MAH B2B URL. This is just for the sake of explaining it. You don't need to note it from here. You can fetch it from the developer portal or the Postman collection. So you use, whenever you're calling this API, you'll have to pass two parameters, which is the first one is the bearer token, which we got from the access request token API in the previous step. That's part of your authorization header and the bearer token, which is the screenshot on the top right. The second is the API key, which we generated part of subscribing to the API. And that goes in your header as the API key parameter. The third thing is to formulate your message. Now, there are several types of messages. If you are doing commissioning aggregation, there's a separate EPCI's body you have to create. If you are doing packing, there is a separate one. For stolen, damage, ship, receive. All these messages are available in two places. One is the technical guide, which Baha was talking about earlier. They are available on tatmeen.ae. And second, all these messages are also available in the Postman collection on tatmeen.ae. So you can use any one of them to reference and how to create a message. Those are like templates. You can fill them with data and then start testing your APIs. So you have to formulate that message according to what you are trying to do. Now, an important part of this parameter, an important parameter part of the body is your instance identifier. Now, this is a unique identifier, message identifier, which you will generate each time when you are calling this. And this can be used when you are querying the message. Or let's say, for example, if you send a message to Tatmeen and it failed and you're not getting any response from message status query, then you can refer this instance identifier to us in the support call, and we can also track what happened to your message throughout the different systems which are involved in executing the transaction. So this identifier is very important, and every time you post data with Tatmeen, this has to be unique. Otherwise, system is going to return an error to you and ask you to generate a new one. So you generate this instance identifier. Again, it's part of the Postman collection, but just for the sake of simplicity, I've added the tag where it should exist. So you have formulated your message, you have put the API key, you have put the bearer token, and the last step would be to push this message to Tatmeen. Now, what Tatmeen will do for asynchronous APIs, which were the manufacturing related APIs and logistic, you will get a message if the format check passes and their basic check passes. So let's say, for example, for manufacturer, there are checks on the import permit, there are checks on quantity. All those, if they are all those are passed, then they will get a response saying Tatmeen has accepted the message. And then Tatmeen will take some time to process that. So if you have got a response saying Tatmeen has accepted the message for the asynchronous APIs, this means now you have to wait for some time and then request the pooling service, which is the message status query service, to find out what happened to your message, which is the last step on the next slide. So the last step, which is E3 message status query, this is again an API provided by Tatmeen. It's a pooling service. The URL is written here for just to be verbose, but it's available online. You have to pass two things to it. You have to pass the request token, which you generated from the request token API, and the API key. Request token again goes in the bearer token in the authorization header. If you remember in the previous step, you generated an instance identifier. So this instance identifier, you have to pass it part of the body. And based on that, if you're authorized to view that message log, system will return you back the message log of your transaction. Either it was success or failure, which you can see on the bottom right. It gives you different messages. If it was success S, if there was an error E, so there are different information messages I. You'll get a complete message log for your transaction. And that's about it. So this is in summary how you can set up a user and execute a particular transaction.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Khosrow. I'll take you very quickly, everyone, through the test cases. Now, after you've done everything that Khosrow has explained, you have to carry out a number of test cases so that we can, you can have assurance that your system is working, and we also can help you verify this. The test cases are available on the Tatmeen website. I will take you through the website after this very quickly. You download the test cases, you execute these test cases using your own system and data sets for each transaction type, and then you submit it to this email address. Now, if there are any issues, we will report these back to you for sure. Now, we have received some submittals from some of the manufacturers and some of the medical stores. It is important to cover all the test cases that I will explain to you in detail now. Let me just very quickly show you the website and show you where these test cases are. So if you go to tatmeen.ae, just a minute. This is our official website. If you go to documents, you will find these manuals. This is the serialization manual that describes how the barcode should look like. And these are the 3 technical manuals that we were talking about. Technical guide for dispensers, for logistics, and for manufacturers. Inside them, you will find the structures of the EPCIS messages. Okay? Now, the slides that Khosrow explained to you are explained in this manual, Technical Guide for Onboarding, version 05. Inside this manual, you will see that the developer portal, the application API, and everything you need to know. This is the Postman collection that also Khosrow was referring to. It shows you how the messages are structured, and you can use it for testing. All right? Now, there is also the test cases that I will explain to you. Let me show you one of these test cases so that you are fully aware of how it looks like. It's a Word document so that he can fill it very easily and send it back to us. Now, these are the test cases that you have to carry out. Now, remember, you might not need to do all of them, but you have to cover your full supply chain. And for sure, if you are a medical store, by design, you don't do dispensation. This test case will be carried out by pharmacies and hospitals. However, you as a medical store, you have to do pack, unpack. Sorry, just a minute. You have to do pack, unpack all. You have to do shipping, receiving, of course, to move shipments from one location to another. And you also need to do, if required by your operations, to take a sample to report a unit as damaged, stolen, exported, lost, blocked, or unblocked. Right. So if you look down, you will find how we expect the test cases to be filled out. It's very detailed. It's very easy to use, and it will make life easier for you and for us as well. So this is as far as the test cases are concerned. Let's go back to the website again. Again, this is what we have explained in the slides. It talks in detail about how you onboard. This is the Postman collection, and these are the execution template for the test scenarios and the test scenarios themselves. You will also find some other documents. This is, for example, the onboarding presentation that we did back in July. There is an FAQ document that you can look at. We encourage you to do that. It has a lot of questions and a lot of answers. And this one is the workshop that you have attended 2 days ago, Dr. Amin Al-Amiri, the slides of it. And we're going to upload additional slides on this, on this website as needed. Right. Now, let me very quickly take you through the processes, and then we're going to open the floor for questions and answers. What are the processes that you have to cover as a medical store? And Tatmeen is interested in these processes. The first one that you have to do is the user registration, as Khosrow explained to you in details. It revolves around the single point of contact that you have in your organization. Then you have the commissioning aggregation. Commissioning, very simple, is when the serial numbers of the pharmaceutical products are uploaded to Tatmeen, so that Tatmeen can track and trace them. Aggregation is when you collect a number of sellable units into a carton or a pallet or a a logistics container, let's say SSCC, for example. If you are doing commissioning and aggregation on behalf of your principal, you have to use these services on Tatmeen, and you have to report these activities on Tatmeen. Again, the technical manual for manufacturers describes what you need to do. Then you have the product transfer. This is where you are moving shipments from one location to another within your jurisdiction. So if you have a warehouse in Jabal Ali, inland, and you have another warehouse, let's say in Dira, you have to report a shipping event from your Jabal Ali warehouse to your Dira warehouse. So the Jabal Ali warehouse will have to do a shipping activity, and the Dira warehouse will have to do a receiving activity. If by any mistake, if by any chance a mistake was done, the Dira warehouse can return the shipment, and the Jabal Ali warehouse can receive the return. Okay, so the movement of goods within your branches has to be captured in Tatmeen. And again, the technical manual for logistics explains this in detail. This is the shipping and this is the receiving. Product hierarchy change, simply put, is when you pack stuff, when you pack sellable units into a bigger logistics unit, like a pallet or a bundle or a carton, unpack when you remove it, when you remove the sellable units out of this logistics unit. Unpack all is a nice feature that we added. You can, with a single scan, unpack the whole sellable units from a carton or a logistics unit. Product status update, this is also important. These are the different statuses that you can basically report against a sellable unit. Blocked, unblocked. If, for example, you can block it for inspection. If there is a problem that you suspect there is a problem, you can block it for inspection. This blocked is used mainly by customs, but it can also be used by you for any reason. Sorry. Take a sample. You can report lost, stolen, damaged, exported. If you notice, dispensing is not included here because it's not done by medical stores by design. It's done by hospitals and pharmacies. This is a view of the statuses, which one is acceptable and which one is not acceptable. Take some time to look into it when we upload the slides into the portal, into the Tatmeen website. The last one is the product verification. You can have access to this feature. You can verify the journey through which a sellable unit or a logistics unit has taken. You go to this menu, verification, and you can see the journey of the products. Where are they coming from, to make sure that they are authentic and they haven't been imported illegally or through a parallel market or what have you. And again, this feature is available on the mobile and portal for you to use if you need to. That's it. This is what we have to present to you. Let me just exit the presentation mode. And then I'll hand it over to my colleague, Nibal, to streamline the questions and answers.
Thank you, Baha. Yeah, lots of hands being raised at the moment. I tried to answer some of the questions on the chat. So yeah, I'll unmute one by one. Can you please just mention your name and your organization before you ask the question, just for our records? I'll start with Abdul. Abdul, your mic is allowed. You can go ahead and speak. Abdul Tabriz, you can unmute yourself. Okay.
Yeah, hi, Ibal, thank you. We are from Al-Sharq Hospital, Fujairah. We also have pharmacies. So is there a separate session for the pharmacies and hospitals?
Yes, there is. There is a session on Monday with Dr. Amin Al-Amiri, and there's a session tomorrow with the pharmacies as well, similar to this one.
Okay, one more question. So we have a group number of locations where in our current processes we are receiving into the central stores, and then from there we are transferring the items to the relevant locations. So does this have any relevance to the session which we had now for the medical stores?
Yes, yes, it does. First thing, when it gets received at your prime location, you have to do a receive action on Tatmeen. The sender will have to do a shipping action on Tatmeen. So this is when it reaches the central store.
Yeah.
Now, when it leaves your central store, the same thing should happen. You should send it, ship it to someone, and that someone should receive it.
Okay. So you want to report the location to location transfers as well, even though it's not that with the medical stores within the group also. For example, within Al Sharq, we have 5 pharmacies where our items keep moving from one place to another based on the requirements. So every movement has to be tracked and reported to Tatmeen.
Yes, every movement from one GLN to another. Yes, it has to be reported.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
That's why it's very important. You have to take your time and consider which GLNs you want to acquire from GS1.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Abdul. Radwa, can you please unmute yourself?
دكتور رضوى صباح الخير.
Okay, I'll go to Siraj. Siraj, can you please go ahead, unmute yourself?
Hi, my name is Siraj Eddin. I am the IT manager in Pharmalink Drugstore and Medicina Group of Pharmacies as well. First of all, thank you, Baha, for the presentation. I think the integration for us, it's clear for me at least, but my challenge, it's in my system structure. Currently, I am using in Pharmalink Drugstore, SAP S/4HANA, and also in the pharmacies, we are using Dynamics 365. In the both system, we can record the GTN number, for example, in the item master. Also in the batch master, we can record all the batch. But my challenge here is to record the serial number for the item, for the quantity. So if I need to capture this data and push this data again to your system or send as a message, I cannot save this data. And to achieve this, I need to have a huge customization. So I need your advice for this point. Second point, if we are go live with you, what we will do with the current stock? We have also a huge number of stock in all locations, and all items it's recorded as per the previous, as per the current process. We just recording the GTN number and only batch. So I need also your advice on this point.
Right, Khosrow, would you like to take the first one? I'll take the second one.
Yeah, sure. So you are only doing dispensation. I missed that part.
Sorry?
You are a pharmacy who's selling products to end consumers, right?
No, I am a drugstore as well.
Okay, so you have warehouses as well. So you have warehouses as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So see, there are 2 ways to look at this. Now, you already probably have a warehouse management system where we are currently doing good receipts, and then you are doing good issues. And probably in pharmacy also, you must be doing only good issues. So you have only stock information. Now, if you can plug in the GTI information in your product master, the GCP in the system, then it's a call. So if you want to maintain all those serial numbers in your system, that's one way of doing this. Another way is, again, it depends on what information do you have, and then we go down into the processes, then it's going to, I can comment more on this, but if I look at the dispensation process, which is simpler, then whenever you are reporting, whenever you are selling anything in the market, you have to call the dispensation API to report that event. Now, dispensation API, if you see, requires a GLN, which is a fixed GLN for your organization, and the GCP and SG10 for that particular product. So if you are incorporating the G10 and GCP in your system, then the serial number is already available on the barcode. So that serial number, if you don't store it within your organization, you scan that product, you pick the serial number. So you have to formulate a URI format, which is available in the Postman collection. And that has 3 parts to it. One is the GCP, which is the global company prefix for that particular product, the G10 for that product, and then the serial number of that product. So if you, like you said, if I can add the G10 in my system, so if you can maintain the GCP and G10 in your system, then serial number you can get it from the barcode, and then you can report a dispensation even directly without even storing those serial numbers in your system. So that can be one way of looking at it. Because if serial number is not your requirement, then that's actually Tatmeen's requirement, right?
Yes, correct. So you mean for the serial number, no need to save this or record this in our system. Yani we can just capture this and send to you direct in the transaction.
Yeah, exactly. Our requirement is not that you should have this data. We want you to report that data based on whatever you are receiving and selling.
Okay, and this coming to my mind now, just one point. You know, in the warehouse, especially in the business continuity, it's not like the server. Sometimes we are scan this and the internet, for example, for any reason, because we have multiple locations, sometimes the internet is disconnected. So I cannot push this data direct to you. Sometimes I need to save it, then I send to you. So also I will come to, yeah, it will be the challenge to me when I push direct to you. Yeah, usually I need to save this in my data to cover my side.
Yeah, true. And AI for our side system, we are going to have a highly available system, so our APIs will be available. But yeah, from what you said is a valid point as well.
Okay.
But like what I'm trying to come up to is, you can store minimum information to report transaction with Tatmeen. So this information, again, it's more of when you go in detail, then you can design the solution. But fine, if it's just about holding for a time being, hold that information. Once it's passed, you get rid of that.
Okay.
Or if you have no storage problem, then keep it.
Okay, got it.
Now the second part, the second question, Siraj, I think I've answered one of your emails, if I'm not mistaken. Now regarding the existing stock, we as Evotech, we are a technology operator of the system. We build the system and we operate it. This specific question will have to go to Mohab, because they own the stock, and they are responsible for the stocks in the country. So I would kindly advise you to send this email to contact@tatmeen.ae, and we will take it to the ministry and get back to you.
Thank you, Baha. But I have just a question, please, if allow me.
Yes.
Currently, what I see in the guide document, we need to scan or we need to have a GS1 data matrix barcode for every item, and with the carton as well. So for the carton, the serial number will be unique for the carton or the item. Just I want to clarify this part, because as per my knowledge, the GTN will be described. The serial number will be described the GTN or the item. But if I print this QR code for the carton, will be also a serial number. So this will be carton.
You're talking about aggregation, huh?
Sorry.
The serial number for the secondary pack is unique for sure. But for the logistics unit, I'll have to double check that. I don't think it's unique.
It's not okay, because as per the document, it's mandatory to have this GS1 data matrix in the carton.
Yeah, it is. It is mandatory, yes, per the serialization manual, yes.
And the serial number is a mandatory also.
Which one, sorry?
Serial number, it's mandatory field in the GS1 data matrix.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but if I print this for the carton, it will be also a serial number. So this is will.
Sorry, I think you got muted, Siraj.
No, I will unmute Mustafa. Mustafa, he has a comment on that. 1 second. I will allow mic. Yeah, Mustafa, you can speak now. You can unmute first.
Thank you, Nepal. Yeah, just to add to this, Baha. When we have the, like Baha was saying, right? So when you have the aggregation, right? So throughout the supply chain, what that means is that you have your saleable units, which are packed into your logistics units, right? So your saleable unit might be packed into bundles, then to shipper cases, then to pallet, depending on your operations. Now, what we, throughout the operations, what you need to do is basically scan the parent. So you don't have to scan every single saleable item because, Tatmeen knows what is packed inside that particular parent logistics unit. So when you talk about, you know, sending from one location to another location, you know, shipping from one location to another location, you are shipping, say, 4 pallets, you know, and these pallets might have like hundreds of saleable units in it. So you're not basically scanning every single saleable unit. You're just scanning the 4 pallets, which has a unique SSCC code, right? You know, so if going back to those GS1 terminologies, which we talked about earlier, right? So you have the 2D data metrics, and then you have these SSCC, serial codes there, right? So the linear barcode, so to speak. Now these are there on your logistics units, right? So your pallet will have an SSCC. It will always have an SSCC. Your shipper case can have an SSCC or 2D data metrics, right? So SG10. Your bundle can have an SSCC or 2D data metrics, the SG10. And your saleable unit will always have the SG10s, right? So this is if you go back to the MOHAB serialization guide, which Baha was mentioning earlier, all these are mentioned there. So that is just to add to, so you're not scanning every single thing. That is number one. But obviously, when you're dispensing on a saleable unit level, in case you are dispensing on a saleable unit level, because there are some use cases, some people can dispense on a logistics unit level, right? We are allowing that in Tatmeen also. But then again, Tatmeen would know what is packed inside. And so you're just scanning the parent unit, right? So that's number one. Number two, the existing products which you have, you know, at the time of go live. Again, this needs to go back to MOHAB, like Baha is saying, but as per the legislation, you know, so you are going to be only reporting starting from the business go live, you know, so starting from December 13th. So anything which is already in the market, and by the way, which is already in the market and which is serialized, you know, based on the GS1 standards, right? So you might already have these products coming in based on GS1 standards. Those products, Tatmeen needs to know about those, right? So we are already working with MOHAB on, you know, so at least Tatmeen knows about them. We are not, obviously, we won't be able to track and trace every single moment on that, but we will be able to know that they are valid products, right? But again, formulate your question and send it to us on this one.
For the sake of time, Nipal, can we unmute Radwa, please? Thank you, Mustafa. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Nipal, can I suggest something? Can you unmute everyone and we can take them one by one per the order that we see on the screen?
Yeah,
makes it easier for everyone. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Radwa, you can unmute yourself if you want, but I cannot unmute everyone. I can allow them to activate their mic. This is what I'm doing.
Okay, sure.
Rana, you're next. Please unmute yourself.
Hello, thank you a lot for your time. This is Rana Abdul Manam, responsible for Amico International. I have several questions. The first one is, as far to my understanding, that Tatmeen is only for pure pharma products, while Termiz is for medical device. Is this correct, or each of these two projects will be dealing with medical device as well?
Termiz, Dr. Rana, I think it's for a DHA, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Tatmeen is a federal program. It's under MOHAB. So to answer your question, Tatmeen will include medical devices in the future.
Okay, that's great. And the second question is, we've been dealing with GS1 team and we have succeeded to get the GLN number. And the next step is we are waiting for Tatmeen support team to contact us in order to activate it.
Sure.
So, as also far to my understanding that since we are a medical device company, we will not be in the first wave. However, we will be in the second wave after you complete the deadline with the pharmaceutical companies and the one that's dealing with pharmaceutical products. Is this correct?
Yeah, this is correct. At the moment, Tatmeen does not support medical devices. However, thank you very much for acquiring the GLNs per MOHAB instructions. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. And my last question is, as also according to GS1 that we have already the account for the distributor, not the manufacturer, so we will not be responsible for uploading or feeding any system with any information. On the other hand, we will ask our manufacturers to upload this information, and GS1 will open this account for us. So I'm not sure is there any other steps I should know of and we are responsible to go for it, or this is very clear to us what we are at right now?
Your last question was related to medical devices or pharmaceutical drugs?
No, for medical device, and we are basically discussing the branding account.
So you're only dealing with medical devices?
Exactly, yes.
Okay, then acquire the GLNs and just sit and wait.
Okay, so we will just be waiting for you, Tatmeen support team, to contact us when you're ready, so we can go for the next step.
Yes, yes.
And
Just sorry, Doctora, one thing. If you're dealing with pharmaceutical products, you have to onboard to Tatmeen. If you're dealing with medical devices, per instructions of Mohab, get the GLN and be prepared.
okay, that's good to know. And the last thing is we will not be affected by anyhow for the deadline on December 13th, 2022.
Affected in what sense?
As far to my understanding that this deadline is for only pharmaceutical products.
Yes, correct. That's correct. Yes.
Okay. Thank you a lot for your time. I don't have further questions.
Shukran, Doctora.
Thank you.
Radwa, I think we
Advanced healthcare. Please
Advanced
unmute
healthcare.
yourself.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. This is Amir from Advanced Healthcare. How are you?
أهلا عامر, صباح الخير.
صباح الخير, أهلا وسهلا. I have a question. Actually, we are an agent we are reporting products. It's not a pharmaceutical product. It's a product is containing some medicine. I believe that at that time, in this time, we are not requested to join or to integrate our system with Tatmeen. Only we have to get the registration first, right?
Mr. Amir, I think you have to double check the nature of your product with Mohab because they are the ones who confirm this or not. Is it a named patient medication?
Actually, it's something like this. Yeah, we use it in the surgery. Yeah.
Right, okay. If you can kindly send an email to contact@tatmeen.ae, describe the case exactly, and we will get in touch with Mohab to clarify this for you.
Okay, so we will get the registration first, then we will send this request. I have one more question. In case if our system we cannot integrate for the future use, let's say, we cannot integrate with Tatmeen APIs. So can we use instead of this step the mobile app and the portal?
Yes, you can. The mobile and portal were designed for smaller organizations. If you have high volumes, like thousands of syllable units moving in and out every day, the mobile and portal is going to be a nightmare for you. But if you have specific, very small, very limited requirements to report to Tatmeen, you can use the mobile and portal. It's totally up to you. We cannot tell you use this or that. Based on your operations, you should judge which one is better.
Okay, perfect. Last question. If we can, please, where can we find these records, for the sessions? I want to recheck again.
We will figure out a way to do it because you're external to our organization, where you might not be able to see it on Teams, but we will find a way to extract it and upload it somewhere. Okay.
Okay, and for the file which you shared in the beginning, at the beginning of the session, I tried to download it, but actually it said I don't have access.
File. The presentation file.
Yeah.
So because you're outside the organization, we will upload it on the Tatmeen website as well.
Perfect. خلاص done. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for support.
Good luck. No problem.
Thank you.
Rashid, can you please unmute yourself? Rashid.
Hi, myself Rashid from Alithya Drugstore IDS.
Hi Rashid, good morning.
Morning. How? Actually, we have one doubt regarding this dispatch process. When we are sending during this heterogeneous packing, if we are doing, And if we send this, upload this document to Tatmeen, and if it is rejected, either one of the product is rejected, do we have to repack it entirely? How it happens?
The short answer is yes, you have to repack. I'll leave it to either Khosrow or Mustafa to comment on this.
Yeah, see, there are two things to it. API call in Tatmeen is going to happen, or if there's any one error, if let's say, for example, if you send 10,000 items bundled in an API in one API call, if one of them has an error, then it's going to return you an error for the entire transaction. So transaction happens or doesn't happen. If that was a question, then that's the answer. I'm not sure if you're saying if you do one by one and then you are failing, if you can clarify.
No, we will be sending, as you mentioned, we'll be sending maybe 600 products or something as a one shipment. In that, maybe Tatmeen rejects only one particular product.
API one event.
Only one event is been rejected.
Yeah, you can correct that
will
event
be the
and send
process
it back. You can correct the
I can
event and
just
send it again.
Only I no need to do the aggregation again.
No, that's what I'm saying. So for Tatmeen, aggregation never happened. If one of the events had an issue, so the entire transaction, it was what bundled in one API call, then the entire transaction failed. So for Tatmeen, aggregation never happened. So you correct your message and resend the message. Does that make sense?
One second, just one second.
But let me take advantage of time. To register as SPOCs, you have to get in touch with BrandSync. Whomever is asking about the SPOC. To register your SPOC, you have to get in touch with GS1 BrandSync team.
Okay, thank you for
You're welcome, Raj. You're welcome.
Rabiha, please unmute yourself. Rabi Ismail.
Yeah, Rabhi Ismail. Hi, good morning. I'm calling or talking on behalf of the Quadri Pharma. To be honest, we are done with the GLM registration. We are done with Tatmeen, the SPOC, the service, the dialogue. Also, we registered ourselves in the developer portal, and we are now in process of checking the API. To be honest, I find difficulty how to understand, but we will read again and we will see. My first question here, as per my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, we have not two systems, but two ways, either B2B or mobile and portal. And B2B is for the more sophisticated for the.
We lost you.
Hello?
Sorry, we lost the last one.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so if the organization is small and will depend on the mobile on the portal, the first question, we did not find any Tatmeen app in iOS or Google. Is it launched or not yet?
The mobile application is not launched yet, Doctora. It will be launched through the Mohab. We're in talks with Mohab. Most probably is going to be through their account.
And we can do all the normal processes by scanning through the mobile application once it's launched?
Yes, you can. So you have to take care, as you mentioned, you have to take care of volumes. If your operations are going to be hindered by this, then you have to rely on APIs.
Okay, and my second question, we will start always by doing the commission and the aggregation. And I believe this is mainly, it will be done.
We lost you again.
We lost you, Doctora.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so we will start with the aggregation and the commission, as I believe. And this is mainly done by the MAH company who will ship the products for us. And this will be done through the they will collect or they will pack the secondary packs into the cartons and then in the pallets. And I know that the secondary pack, they have a unique GS2 number. Then they will do it on the packs and the cartons and the pallet with the SSCC number. My question, once we receive this shipment, some of we will do unpacking for this pallet and we will keep it in our store. Then we will collect partial quantity to fulfill the requirements for the hospital and the pharmacies. So
Correct.
here, shall we have to do another SSCC when we send our stocks to the hospital and the pharmacies? Or
Yeah.
we have to do or create another SSCC?
Yes, and Tatmeen has this feature. They can get an SSCC from Tatmeen, create the pack that you want, and ship it to the destination.
Okay, it's not about like choosing what the quantity will be shipped to the hospitals and that's it. We have to create another coding for the cartons.
Yes, yes. You have to pack. You have to aggregate it and send it over. If you're talking about 5 syllable units, Doctora, and you can send them as they are, but you have to report this on Tatmeen. You have to tell Tatmeen that you're sending these out from location A to location B.
Okay, I know that I have to report it. So I have to only report the quantities or through another code, another SSCC code.
Can I probably take this, Baha?
Yep.
Yeah. So see, Tatmeen quantity is driven indirectly from the number of SG10s or SSCCs. So when you generate an SSCC, what Baha is saying is, let's say you are creating a hybrid pack or heterogeneous pack of 20 boxes. Then you want to put a new barcode on that. Then you can generate that barcode from Tatmeen, which is an SSCC. Then you do a packing event. Then you select first commission, then barcode in Tatmeen, and then do a pack. And in the pack, you say, these are the 20 boxes I'm packing in this big box. So quantity directly you don't say this pack is 20. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So what I was trying to say was the SSCC, you don't say that this SSCC will have 20 items. The items you pack inside that drives the hierarchy. So there is no concept of quantity in Tatmeen directly, like for example, you are entering that this has 20 items or 200 items.
So I have to do another packing even for smaller quantities once I supply it to the pharmacy or the hospital.
Whatever you pack or unpack, you have to report it to that.
Okay, we have to report it. And it will be only like dispensed, regardless to whose hospital or pharmacy. I don't need to link to another hospital specifically, right? Just
No, if you are sending it to someone, then you have to do a shipping event for whatever you are sending to the GLN of the receiver.
Also, I have to collect the GL number for the hospital or the pharmacies I'm dealing with?
Yes, you have to.
Okay, so I will add the GLN number once I'm dispatching to them.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So the process of doing the test cases are to be sent to you by email. This is one-time step only. I will do it now to make sure that I am on board, and that's it. Then I will go back to the Tatmeen and do the normal processes, or this will be done frequently.
It's a one-time thing.
It's only one-time thing. So I have to do all the test scenarios. Once it's approved, so I'm ready.
You move to the production environment. Yes, you start on the staging, you do the tests, and once everything is done, you move to production.
Production, which is the actual, like, what they call it, the process itself, after 13th of December, right?
Inshallah. No.
Okay, this is so far. I'll go through the API, and if I have any questions or during doing the test, I will be contacting you by email. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sharif? Please. No. He cannot unmute him. He cannot unmute himself, I think.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, Sharif, please unmute yourself. Okay. Unais, can you please unmute yourself?
Hi.
Yes, hi. We hear you.
Hi, I'm Unais from Al Mazrui Medical Group. We have an entity like trading and a hospital and pharmacies. And in trading, we have different locations, our warehouses having in different locations. And we had created the branching account years before as a part of Tamri's project. I think it's part of Dubai Health Authority. And is this any connection between this project and that thing?
You see this when you go to the GS1 portal, right?
Yeah, under branching, we have created account previously.
Right.
And we had registered our product under branching.
Yeah, I understand. I've seen the menu. You have to get in touch with GS1 directly and ask them which one you need to acquire. Is it does it cover both, or do you have to get a new one for Tatmeen?
I mean, to contact the branching team.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And the currently Tatmeen is part of medical store related item. I mean, it's a pharmaceutical items, or it's include in their portfolio of like example medical equipment and disposable, all the items. How it's a segregation?
At the moment, as per there is a decree that was issued by the minister. We're covering pharmaceutical products. The next phase, as announced by Mohab, is medical devices. Devices, not equipment.
Okay.
So we're not talking about dental chairs here.
I mean,
pacemakers. Yeah. Okay.
This type of equipment. So whatever that means, whatever there in the medical store item, it has to be synchronized with the Mohab system.
Your existing stock?
Yeah, I mean, whatever existing or new coming, everything has to be synchronized with the Mohab system.
You mean the current stock, Eunice?
Yeah. Current stock, or I mean, whatever our movement is happening. If it, let's say, from one location, let's say we have a location in Align and we have location in Dubai. I mean, the both items has to be synchronized with the hub system related to these pharmaceutical items and these things.
I'm not sure I understood the question. Apologies.
I mean, let's say we have item medical store items placed on one location, and it has to be. I mean, all the stock items has to be there in a Mohab system also.
You mean the Tatmeen system?
Yeah, I mean Tatmeen system.
Okay. Now we've answered this question before. Now for the existing stock, please send us the query officially so that we can double check with Mohab and respond to you officially. We need guidance from Mohab on this. We cannot answer ourselves.
Okay, but currently we have any categorization for the pharmaceutical items? What all the things has to be registered under this one?
Yes, it's in the serialization guide, which is on the website.
Okay. And final, for synchronization, is there any SD-WAN connection requirement for API calling and distance?
T1 connection?
Yeah. I mean, it will be a public, the API will be a public, or it is through any secured channel?
No, it's public. It's public.
It's public.
Yes.
Because as part of in pharmaceutical Malafi, there is a separate SD-WAN connection establishment with these things.
Malafi is a different program, Eunice.
I know it's a different program. I know.
That one is medical records. We're dealing with track and trace here. You have companies in the US and the UK connecting to us. So we cannot have side to side.
Okay, so it will be a open API. I mean public API.
Yes.
Thank you, Eunice.
Thank you, move to Mr. Karthik.
Just a comment. We have 36 questions and we have only 34 minutes for the meeting. May I ask if your question was already answered on the chat? Because we are answering, my colleagues are answering questions on the chat. If your question was already answered in the chat, please lower your hand to give the chance for others to answer. Karthik, can you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, I'm Karthik, ERP Manager of Pharma Trade. I have only two questions. Can we have the XST file of all the APIs? The structure, WADL file of all the APIs?
You mean a postman or the documentation?
The WSDL file itself, because I think you're calling the same web service like send EPCAS for all the transactions. I think internally there'll be a different structure for each of this one. So we need to study that WADL file. WSDL file.
You can refer to the Postman collection on tatmeen.in. Have you looked at that?
Yeah, we looked at that. Then we found out it's calling the same web service, but with the different structures.
Yeah, those different structures are based on different type of messages.
Yeah. So if we have that WSDL file, so it'll be easy for us to create a comprehensive web service from our side.
The only thing we have is the Postman collection.
Okay. And one more final question is, so see, sir, now that the mobile application is not launched and we have to use the mobile portal on the web, or uh, we have to use the APIs. So the challenge on the web portal is currently I'm trying to access that web portal on the mobile, and we are not able to use the scanning feature there. So in that case, we have around 20 receivers and 20 pickers, moving across the arrows. So providing every person a laptop or a desktop will be a challenging one. So that is one thing. And second thing is, you said there is no need to store the serial number on the ERP because it is only for the reporting to Tatmeen. So unless we store the serial number, how can we use the APIs? So these are the two questions I have.
Yeah, so see, what you mentioned in terms of laptops, and that's more of logistics. And that's why we say that if your operations are big enough, and it's not just providing laptop and mobile devices, it's if they're already using some process to do good receive and good issue, then they have to do two processes at the same time. So operationally, if you have big operations, portal and mobile, your users are going to suffer if they have to use portal mobile. That's why the right approach would be use B2B APIs. And again, see, it depends on what system you are using, but yeah, you can store minimum information which is required to report to Tatmeen. And once you go through those technical guides, you will find out. So like I said, GCP for an organization is required, G10 is required, that's master data. GLN for the organization is required, but serial numbers are available on the barcode. So you can formulate an EBCS message. So if you are, again, what's your role in the supply chain? That's also a question. But if you are a person who receives it, packs and sends it forward, yeah, then I think you can modify your system to work alongside Tatmeen. But if you want to add on a product which has stored serial numbers as well, then that's your call. So again, it depends on your scenario and what system you have.
Yeah, we use Oracle e-business suites at the same time. We don't have this multiple levels of storing the serial numbers. Anyway, we'll figure it out, because unless we store the serial number, I think it's very difficult to use this API. So we'll have to use some custom interface. So it'll be, exhaustive customization. Anyway, I got your point. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Karthik. Akil, can you please unmute yourself? Akil?
Yes, sir. Good morning,
Yeah.
sir.
Good morning.
Al-Muntaqa Drugs and Pharmaceutical. Sir, we are importers and we distribute in UAE. So I have several questions. I will make it as short as possible. First thing, do we have, let's say when we are talking about testing scenarios and for practicing modules, do we have anything for portal and mobile? Mobile, as I know that it is not yet launched, but however, for portal, do we have any practicing scenarios or a material that helps how to use the portal itself?
Yes, we do, Aqil. Nibal or any of the onboarding team, can you post the UTT URL on the chat box? You can look at these slides. They will give you an idea. These are not the final product. The final training manuals will be released during October, so that you can have access to them. But you can look at the material that is in the URL the team will post. It will give you an idea of what you're going to deal with. As far as the portal is concerned, and I think there is also some screens that describe the mobile.
Okay, great. Second thing, let's say all our purchases are from outside UAE. So the MAH or supplier, they will upload in the shipping on Tatmeen portal. We are at receiving end. So while receiving the shipment, do we need to scan to get this updated on Tatmeen portal, or it will be reflecting directly on Tatmeen portal and we just need to acknowledge that we received the goods?
I think scanning is required.
While receiving, scanning is required. Take your time, sir.
That's okay. I'm back. I'm back.
Yes, sir. So while receiving, we need to scan and we need to enter the quantity as per the physical quantity. Let's say if there is any difference, the supplier sent us 10,000 units, but for some reason we have received, let's say 9,580, 75, some like 20, 25, 50 pieces are missing. So in that case, how we would treat that missing quantity?
Yeah, maybe, Baha, let me take this. So see, that's a very good point. First of all, like I said, Tatmeen indirectly refers to quantities. Tatmeen is a track and trace system for serial numbers. That's in principle the purpose of Tatmeen. But those are processes, how you deal with them right now, you have to deal with them in the same way. The only thing which adds on for you is earlier you were looking at only quantities. Now you have to look at the serial number. So let's say, for example, I send you a pallet. I reported in Tatmeen that I sent pallet A to you, just to simplify the discussion. When you received it, the barcode was pallet B. Even if this quantity is right, you have to either send back that pallet, or another option, you tell your sender, please can you cancel this shipment, or you record a return shipment in Tatmeen and then ask him to submit the right pallet. So that adds on. Now, if the quantity is incorrect and you're returning that shipment, then you record a return shipping event in Tatmeen. If you thought something is damaged, then you have multiple ways. Let's say your supplier says it's damaged, you dispose it off and just report damage. So you can report damage after receiving it.
Yeah, dispose in the sense I will receive the total quantity. I will enter it as receiving total quantity, and the difference I have to post it again as missing or destruction or damage or something like that, right?
Yeah, you can receive partial quantity as well. So again, when you are receiving it, again, it's not the quantity, it's the serial number. So if you see a pallet, when you scan the barcode on the pallet and say receive, then everything under that automatically gets received.
Okay, perfect. And in case of FOC, let's say some medical samples, it's a pharmaceutical item, but supplier is sending as sample. So we have to receive it as sample, or and then while issuing, we will issue it as sample, or is all together received as commercial and then issue either sample or commercial from the same lot.
So see, there are two ways to take this question. One is simplistically Tatmeen, whenever you take a sample from Tatmeen, it's decommissioned. So it cannot be sold, it cannot be moved ahead. It's end of life cycle. That's
So we have
one
to
sample.
receive it as sample.
Yeah, but there is no shipping or receiving of sample. It's a shipping and receiving of a product. There's an activity in Tatmeen. If you're taking that out as a sample, as soon as you record that, then the life cycle in Tatmeen is over. It's the end.
So that means we have, while issuing only we have to specify whether it is sample.
It's a sample.
While receiving, we don't have to.
Yeah, true.
Okay. And are there any, let's say, sir, reversal of entries? If let's say we have sold it and then it returned from the market to us, so can we reverse this entry or and then replace it with another entry?
For dispensation, there's no return. Once it's sold, it's recorded as dispensed into Tatmeen.
We are wholesalers, so we sell it to the retailers, to pharmacies, to hospitals, to medical centers. Let's say they couldn't sell some quantity and it is near to expiry, and they said you take back these goods and give us the fresh batch. So
yeah,
we
they can.
receive.
Yeah, sorry to cut you. Yeah, they can do a ship to your GLN, then you can receive that GLN, receive that stock in your GLN.
Okay, we will receive and then same way we can reissue them the
To
replacement
someone
one.
else. Yeah. It's a shipping and receiving event which can happen from any GLN to any GLN.
Okay, okay. One last thing, sir, for your
Last question,
clarify.
Akil.
Yes,
Okay.
sir, last question.
Yeah.
For issuing only. When let's say I'm sending like 1,000 one item but 1,000 pieces. So do I have to scan all these 1,000 pieces one by one, or I can enter quantity as 1,000 and scan it
Again,
once?
yeah. So there's no concept of quantity. Yeah, but if it's already packed, then you can just scan the top item, which is the parent item, and automatically system will record the event for the entire hierarchy.
And so in this case, we have to generate these codes, because while receiving, we are receiving in pallets, and while issuing, we issue as single unit.
Yeah. So if you open a pallet and there are, let's say, for example, shipper cases or bundles inside, if you take those shipper cases and then you sell them directly, then you don't need to generate a new barcode. You can just say unpack from the pallet and then ship those shipper cases or bundles. But if you are creating a new pack of 5 shipper cases, then you have to put a barcode on that, which is you have to generate an SSEC.
That means we have to generate, because we sell it, let's say, like not like loose, but we sell it like units.
Yeah, you have to. It has to be always aggregated.
Okay.
Otherwise, it becomes really difficult if you start. Yani, if you are packing something, so whatever is in reality outside, Tatmeen should reflect.
I will just
simple
make it
words.
more specific. I received a box from supplier with 50,000 units in one box. So I'm receiving 50, but I'm giving my customer 20 pieces in the same carton.
Yeah, but you have to unpack that, right? Because
Yes,
that
I
carton is
will
50,000.
unpack. I will take out 30 and give them only 20. So this pack of 20 should have a barcode unit.
Yeah. Otherwise, what will happen is that on receiving, they will have to scan all 20 one by one.
Okay.
To receive them.
Got it. Got it. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for your clarification.
Thank you, Akil.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ganesh?
Yeah, this is Ganesh from Exalogic IT Consulting. First question is related to master data. In the master data, for the distributors, do they need to register with Tatmeen?
Master data is all in brand sync, be it product master data or be it partner master data. Partner master data is when you get GLNs, product master data is G10. All registration or updations in master data happens in brand sync system. That means doesn't do anything with master data. Only receives it and then you can process transaction.
Yeah, so that will be done by the manufacturer, right? Ideally. So as a distributor, I no need to worry about the syncing the master data with brand sync. Is that understanding is correct?
For the products, right?
Yes, correct. For the products.
Yeah, but for the location, everybody has to manage their own locations.
Yeah, transactional, we will do it as a master data, item master data, sorry, product master data. We no need to sync with the brand sync because we are the distributors.
Yeah.
All right.
Whoever is the owner of the product will do this.
Yeah, thank you. Next question is, example, if in the one shipment inbound or outbound, okay, one invoice is having multiple items, 10 items in the outbound invoice. Do I need to send one shipment or one invoice at a time, or I can send multiple times to the API?
For us, whenever you are doing a shipping and receiving, there is a reference document number. That reference document number is stored in our system just for information. So if you want to separate each outbound delivery in separate shipping and receiving messages, then that's good. I would suggest that because then you can record reference number for each outbound delivery. But if you combine them and send this, we are not going to stop you.
No, it's actually one outbound delivery only, one invoice only, but having the 10 items.
Yeah, so that's then one shipping event.
One shipping event. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that going to be real time we need to push, or it is batch is end of the day is final? It's okay.
I would suggest do it real time. And when I say real time, it depends on your system. But the reason it should be real time is because this data will be changing. Otherwise, if you do it end of the day and you're replaying the whole day transaction, if something fails, then you don't have that pallet. So like I said, you have to depict what's in reality. So if one pack event was recorded incorrectly, then I think it will be a big hassle just to correct that data. So do it in real time.
Okay. If I may add, Khosrow here, sorry. If you don't make the shipping event, the receiver will not be able to make the receiving event. So that's another challenge if you're shipping to any other partner.
Okay. Answered my question. Okay. So then we should go near with real time because otherwise the receiver cannot receive this in the system, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Oh, got it. Thank you. And final one. Is there any option to upload manually in case if we are not ready with the API integration? Is there any option to transaction download or upload into your portal?
Not download and upload. The download upload is only for the manufacturer when they are doing commissioning and aggregation.
Okay.
All other events are transactions, which can be done through portal, which is shipping, receiving. You have to scan the particular barcode and then do a transaction.
Okay. There is no manual upload through Excel, right?
No, only for commissioning and aggregation.
Okay. All right. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Ganesh. Thank you. Aurora, is this Mr. Walid? Aurora, drugstore. Please unmute yourself. Okay, we go to Mr. Rafiq. Mr. Rafiq, please unmute yourself.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bahar. I'm from City Pharmacy. I have just two questions to have a clarification. Actually, we are continuously communicating with Mr. Nibal, and he's very cooperative and happening things very good. So I just have one question: is there whether a supplier is supposed to share aggregation data through local distributors or not?
Supplier to local distributors? You mean outside of Tatmeen?
Yeah, outside the Tatmeen. You mean that when a supplier is shipping, after shipping, reporting to Tatmeen, so same time he need to share with the local distributor as well?
Well,
aggregation data.
I'll tell you what my take on this and leave it to Khosrow. We're working on a feature where you can see incoming shipments. It's going to take some time. What I would recommend that you do for now, keep your current processes as they are. If they are telling you what's coming your way, keep this. Let them continue to do that. Let them send you whatever shipments are coming your way.
Because we are trying some testing with our MSD and some suppliers so that they are sharing the data. Some companies, they are telling me that not required to share any data with a distributor. It's a 3PLs, they are sharing some companies like a free zone.
Then you get it from the, Tatmeen allows the 3PLs to commission. So you have to talk to the 3PLs. Whomever is commissioning, let them send you whatever they're commissioning.
Okay, done. So that is clear for me. The other than this, if like we have two locations, we have 2 GLN, we have 10 already, and something like if like scientific offices, which we are not doing any operations there. So do we have to take a GLN for that locations, or is just we are getting some communication, some email from Mohab, your scientific office should be registered?
That's the 1 billion question. We have to get feedback from Mohab on this. So if you can kindly send us an email, we'll double check with that. This is a very tricky question, Rafiq. And
okay, fine. We will continue with this. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Stambuli, he wants to give his turn to G House Qatari. Where is G House Qatari?
I don't see it as well.
Mr. Sharaf, where is your colleague? Yeah, it's the last one, Nibal. Last one raising his hand.
Giles, can you please ask your question?
Yes, you can unmute yourself now.
Okay. So, first of all, thank you for giving this opportunity. I have a few questions because the same question has been asked by other gentlemen earlier. But the major point, right, what we understood, right, we are not going to receive, during the receiving, we are not going to scan the individual primary packing level serial numbers because we gonna scan the SSCC and we identify it. We also scan the secondary level packaging to receive it, because that mean already have the information which was uploaded from the manufacturer, isn't it? So based on the SSCC as part of the receipt confirmation, you will be able to understand what are the serial numbers associated with it to keep track of it.
I'm not sure I spelled your name. Is it Gauss or G House?
It's Gauss. It's Gauss.
Sorry for that. Just a small correction. The secondary packs are the sellable units. If they are inside the carton, the logistics unit, you don't need to scan what's inside because Tatmeen already knows about this hierarchy.
Exactly.
From the previous actor.
Exactly. So secondary packing is the carton level, GS1 barcode where you identify the box serial numbers, right? What happens if you are selling the loose picking, right? If you're opening up the carton and selling loose pieces inside it, which is a primary packaging, right? So if we have selling that loose level packing, right? As I understand, because we have already explained, because due to reducing the effort during the receiving, we are recommending not to scan each and individual pieces. Rather, you only unpack it and then prepare a new SSCC and send it during the shipments.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
In that case, so that means if we understand it right, this individual shipment, which are packed under the new SSCC code, there during the outbound, then we have to capture the serial numbers of the individuals, right? That has to be uploaded to Tatmeen, like how the manufacturers are doing it.
No, you have to report how it's packed, because the serial numbers are already in Tatmeen. You're just changing. They were in one carton, now they're in another carton. So you have to tell Tatmeen that these sellable units are now in this carton.
Exactly. So now if I am taking it, I'm sending an unpack with, I'm looking to the structure of the data for unpacking. We're just sending only the SSCC code. We're not sending the child or what all the serial numbers inside. Looking into the structure. So, so that means Tatmeen understands, okay, we have to unpack this SSCC now. Now on the other side, the same example I take from the gentleman, we have 50 pieces, out of which 20 pieces is what we are selling it, and 30 pieces still remain in my inventory. Now, when we are sending this new SSCC code, how Tatmeen will understand, okay, these are all the 20 serial numbers that is being shipped out.
You have to generate the SSCC, print it, and then you have to scan the smaller units, the sellable units into that SSCC.
Exactly. So that means, if I understand it right, we have to scan the serial numbers during the dispatch rather than during the receiving.
Yes, and you have to give some credit to Tatmeen. It's a bit smart. It will figure it out. Don't worry.
Okay, so this is number one.
For the sake of time, can we go to Ahmed Tawila? Ahmed Tawila, your name is very familiar. Mr. Ahmed.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu.
Mr. Ba, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, tamam.
Thank you for this opportunity. I have two quick questions. Question number one, it's a bit tricky to set up a receiving test in the staging environment. So my question is how to set up or simulate incoming shipment so I can send the receiving message for it. That's question number one. Question number two is how to exchange the aggregation data so I can validate what's coming for me when receiving. Just in case the supplier sent me another shipment that's supposed to go to someone else. So how the aggregation data should be delivered, is that available in the system, and how to do this? Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Right. For the first part of the question was, what was the first question, Ahmed? So did you capture the first question?
Yeah. So yeah.
Yes. How to set up a receiving? Test. Yes.
Yeah, so see, whenever something is destined for your GLN, when you do a receiving event, it validates. If it was not for your GLN, then system will not let you accept that. That's one. Second is there is a product verification feature right now in staging, which is a bit limited because it doesn't show you the product hierarchy. In the release and production, you will see a product hierarchy also. So you can see what's packed inside that particular aggregated unit.
All right. So it's a coordinated effort, Ahmed. It's going to simulate the real life example. What's happening now? The second fold of your question: how can you get an insight of what's coming your way? As I explained earlier, it is not a feature that is currently available. So let your request whomever is sending to you any shipments to send them also outside the system so that you know what's coming your way.
Okay. Thank you,
Mr.
Ahmed.
Shabir.
Shabir, please
Hello.
unmute yourself.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I am from Julfar Pharma. Okay, we are the manufacturer of the multiple of products. Okay, and my basic question is here that we are ready for the aggregation and all those part. Okay, but here we have the confusion that one logistic guideline which you publish here. What is the applicability of this logistic guideline to our warehouse system? There is three guidelines. You published three guidelines. One for the MAH, okay, which is we well acknowledge this one. Second is the dispensaries, and third is the logistics. And we have a distribution system. Okay, we have the another distributor. We produce our store in our warehouse, and we send to our distributor to distribute across the region. Also, we prepare all those things, master data, brand sync, all are done. Okay, and we are ready for the aggregation. Although we are aggregated product, we are sending to the Saudi and other market also. The same requirement for the aggregation is also here with the SSC code and all those things. So here we are confused. What is the applicability of this guideline to our warehouse and our logistic?
Right. You're a local manufacturer to start with, right?
Yeah, we are the MAH holder. Yes.
So by design, you need to do commissioning and aggregation.
Yeah, we do the commissioning and aggregation. Yes.
You also need to do as a manufacturer. You also need to do shipping.
Yeah, we also do the shipping. Okay, in the shipping. So this guideline,
you ship it. Yeah, Shabir,
yes.
Just bear with me. You ship it to your other warehouses that are part of Julfar Group.
Yes, Planet distributor, our distributor.
No. Is it Julfar Group or someone else?
It is someone else.
Okay, so if it's someone else, you as Julfar, you don't need to worry about the logistics technical manual.
Oh, if it is some. Okay, got your point. If it is a third party, okay, so we don't need to worry about this logistic guideline.
They will have to worry about it. But if Julfar has warehouses and you're moving drugs within these warehouses that are owned by Julfar, then you have to report as a logistics provider.
Okay, we have to provide as a logistic provider. Okay. No, see, we have the multiple warehouse within but we have only one invoicing center for all the system. Okay.
Yeah, but the GPS coordinates are different. I mean, the locations are different. And do you have a warehouse in Al Ain?
No, we are within one location. Within Ras Al Khaimah, within one campus, we have all the warehouse. A small warehouse, 3-4 warehouse.
Okay.
Okay, and we have central warehouse. So dispatch from the one warehouse with the one invoice center.
I'll make it easier for you. Acquire the GLNs. BrandSync will guide you whether you want to use one GLN for Ras Al Khaimah campus or several ones.
No, yeah, sorry to interrupt here. We have the one GLN, so there is no confusion here. Our confusion is that do we require the warehouse management system to sync with the Tatmeen?
For what purpose?
Transactions of data, because we have the huge quantity, huge number of batches. Okay, you know about Julfar. So we are is it any regulatory requirement as per the guideline?
Can I add to this?
Sorry, 1 minute. Let me understand. Is this guideline have any role and responsibility for the warehouse management system?
Hello.
Warehouse management system.
Yeah, I'll give.
Shabir, we lost you.
Yes.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yeah. So simplistically speaking, if any of the activities in the logistics guide are relevant for you, then you need to refer to that. So let's say, for example, something is already reported in Tatmeen and it got damaged. And if you still have the stock, then you have to report damage. that damage event is part of the logistic guide. So they are segregated because we didn't want to create one big document with everything. If you're doing shipping, then you have to refer to the logistic guide. Yeah, shipping event is also part of commissioning aggregation, but if those events are relevant for you, yeah, you have to refer to that.
No, just my question is that how about warehouse connectivity? Do we require to connect our warehouse to Tatmeen?
Okay, so that can have several answers based on how you're operating. If any role your warehouse is playing after anything once it's commissioned in Tatmeen, you'll have to do a continuous reporting based on any changes. So if there's unpack, you have to report it. Pack, you have to report it. Damage, you have to report it. Stolen, you have to report it. So after commissioning, if anything is happening within your warehouse, which is changing the hierarchy or changing the structure of the items, you have to report it.
See, this we all understand. My question is that our warehouse, do we require to warehouse management system before shipping?
So what does your warehouse do part of the supply chain?
Our warehouse is dispatching the finished goods from our warehouse to the distributor warehouse.
Yeah, then this means you are doing a shipping event. Then you have to connect.
Shipping event.
So then you have to report.
Do we require any guideline force us to make our warehouse as a warehouse management system, real time stock, how much stock we have, to show the MOHAP? Because at the time of this event, we will do at the time of dispatching, not before.
Yeah, so Tatmeen doesn't mandate which system do you use, but whatever events are there, you have to report it. You want to do it however you want to do it. You want to put a warehouse management system. You want to develop something. We are not mandating anything, but any change in hierarchy, any change of good hands in the supply chain will have to be reported in Tatmeen.
Okay, that you mean to that time till the time till the time if the stock is with us, okay, if it is not put into logistic, not invoiced, till the time I don't need to report to the Tatmeen. Once invoicing was done, once the goods are about to physically move, at that time we need to log the in Tatmeen app. Am I correct?
Yeah, again, invoicing happens after import permit, before import permit, before
we are
custom,
manufacturer.
after custom.
We are the manufacturer here.
Okay, you are local sales.
Local manufacturer. We are from Julfar. Might be you are aware. Julfar Pharma.
Yes, we know Julfar, sir.
Yeah, we are the biggest manufacturer. Okay, largest manufacturer here. Okay, so
no, that's fine. So just one quick response to that. There will be a local sales permit which will be injected part of the process.
Local sales permit. This is a new term.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is something which is going to come from MOHAP. So that's what I'm saying. So within your process, what happens, we need more detail to answer that. But once it's commissioned, you have to report anything. And before market release, that has to be done in the commissioning. So the products have to be commissioned. So
okay. Yes. 1 minute.
Sorry,
yeah.
We're done with the timing.
They get from him the answer. The scope is only. Yes, that means this all the guidelines which you just sorry, sir. 1 minute. Last question. I am only from the manufacturer side.
Can you please send us the questions you have on contact@tatmeen.ae? We have to give time for others to ask questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shabir. Thank you. Hiran, can you please unmute yourself? Okay. Mansoor, can you please unmute yourself?
Just take one last question from. Hi, Mansoor.
Yeah. Hi. Hi, Baha. This is Mansoor from Prime Healthcare Group. We are operating in warehouse, pharmacies as a medical center and hospital. So we have some multiple questions on each facility. First question is how we are going to identify the SPOC. Will it be for a group level or individual facility? It will be there.
Okay. Khosrow?
That's going to be on the group level.
Under group level, we can have a one SPOC, right? Okay. And second question is, as Mr. Khosrow told, it should be real-time transaction posted to Tatmeen so that shipment will happen. What if there is a failure at the time of creating a shipment at warehouse, which items are transferred to pharmacy or medical center? So in this case, how we are going to handle? Can we post it in offline to Tatmeen, or it should be a real time?
You have to retry if it fails.
Yeah.
If it fails,
That's
and
about it.
yeah, as you told, this there will be a delay to query it, right? Using the specific identifier.
Yes,
So
because if the
it
volume
will
is large, yes, you have to wait.
it will
Yeah.
take time. So our
Yes.
transaction will be saving, time taking will be there, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
we should not allow unless Tatmeen gives the success response.
Absolutely, yes.
Right. Okay, fine. And so third question is the APIs. What deadline we have got on 13th December, right? Is it to acquire the GLN, or we have to be ready with the integration part also with our application?
You have to be ready with integration as well.
With the integration.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Coming to the pharmacy dispense. So in the pharmacy dispense and hospital for IP patients, we are dispensing individual each medicine for IP, and sales will happen for strip wise, not box, but the barcode is on box, right? With the GSTN. So in this case, how we are going to do dispensing for each unit or the strip? And post it to the
First thing is, Tatmeen does not support partial dispensation. It has to be a full pack. The second thing is there is a separate session for dispensation, so I'd rather answer that in detail there because they're going to ask the question as well.
Okay, fine, sir. And last question I have, we are receiving only for some items from the manufacturer with the GSTN barcodes. What will happen for those items which doesn't have GSTN and we have the stock there? How we are going to do this transfer? Whether GSTN is mandatory in this?
These are existing stocks or new stocks?
Yes, existing stocks.
Now, the existing stocks, send us this question again. I've seen a article in the legislation that talks about this, so we need to confirm this with Moha. For existing stocks, send us an email, please. For new stocks, if they're not serialized, they will not be allowed in.
Okay.
Tamam?
Yes.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
This is a very interesting discussion. I would like to thank everyone. Our team are going to try their best to answer the questions that are on chat. If you still have a question, please send it to contact@tatmeen.ae, and we will do our level best to answer your questions. We will post the recording as well. We will figure out how we can post the recording and also the slides, and we will get in touch with you once the posting is done. Thank you, everyone, and wish you the best of luck with the integration. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.